Going live. We're on air. We're on air. Here we are. Hello, welcome everybody to our very first Beyond Funny Humor Marathon Google Hangout. I will be honest, we have absolutely no idea what we're doing. So we're going to figure this out as we go. But you know what? What's funnier than that, right? So here is my co-host, Karen Buxman. Karen, say something.
Me.
Let's make sure you're up there. See, I have no idea what I'm doing. Hopefully you're seeing Karen right now. So let's see. Oh, I don't know what's happening. What's happening? Something's happening. It says we're broadcasting. Where'd I go? I can't see myself.
I can see you.
You can? Okay. Well, let's just assume I'm there. Something very strange is happening right now. I'm seeing this very odd image of myself, but we will keep going because it says we're live. So we are chatting with you today about our favorite topic, which is healthy humor, and specifically the brain-boosting benefits of healthy humor. So we had a session earlier this morning on Learn It Live, where Karen and I were both together kind of talking about our personal experiences with Alzheimer's, and we're going to be posting that link on our website, which is beyondfunny.com. There's a dash in between Beyond and Funny, and hopefully you can see that right below my picture that you can see that I can't see, but I'm just going to trust that it's happening. Karen, can you still see me?
I can see you.
Okay.
And you look marvelous.
Yeah, I came back. I don't know what I just did, but I came back to myself. I can see myself again. Which actually right now, because I'm in a really dark room, doesn't look so bad. So thank God for that. So anyway, we will post that Learn It Live link. We did record that session. And hopefully this is working not only on Google+, but also on YouTube. So we will be sharing this for you as well. So my goal today is to keep these sessions really short and to the point. We want it to be only about 20 minutes long. We're going to give you as much information as we can in that time frame. And you can certainly come back and join us for our other two sessions, which will be this afternoon at 2 and 5. At 2 o'clock, we're going to talk about nutrition and how to nourish the brain. And at 5, as we starting to wind down our humor marathon, we will be talking about stress management. So let me share with you the reason why we're here, and then I'm going to turn over to Karen to give us some of those stats. So Karen, I'm giving you a heads up if you can find those wonderful stats for us again in that brain of yours. I was talking with Karen, my co-host, a couple of years ago, and I was telling her about the Longest Day event, which is done every year during the summer solstice. Summer solstice, say that 10 times fast. And so, you know, it's just kind of this idea that living with Alzheimer's, caring for people with Alzheimer's disease is truly like the longest day every single day. And so they asked people to do something for a marathon event from sunup to sundown. So a couple of years ago, I decided to do one of my favorite things, which was play golf. And I thought all of these people would come out and support me and play golf with me. And the event was on a Wednesday, and I'm blaming it on the fact that it was Wednesday that no one showed up. I did play golf. I did enjoy it. I shouldn't say no one showed up. I had some family members come and join me and play a couple of rounds. But I was telling Karen about this event, and she said, oh my gosh, there's nothing I would want to do for 16 hours unless I was laughing. And it was her idea, her brilliant idea, to then go ahead and make that actually happen by doing a humor marathon where we would literally try to laugh and help others laugh for 16 hours straight. And so far, we're off to a pretty good start, don't you think, Karen?
Between the two of us, I mean, we got enough laughs.
We're doing good. Our brains are certainly being boosted during our first session and trying to figure all of this out as we go along. So anyway, so we decided to do this humor marathon. This is our first year, and we were not planning on doing it this year, but I know the reality of life is that it's not going to slow down to carve out space for us to be able to do something like this. So I decided with my impulsive nature to go ahead and just get it done and get it started and lay the foundation for what we hope will be an annual event that will grow every year. So we're already really excited about what we have planned for next year, and in the meantime we're going to make this year the best we can by doing some virtual events online and getting some friends together. We also have a lot of people around the country, and actually in a couple of other countries, doing some healthy humor in their communities as well. So we want to give a shout out to all of those people. We will be posting on our website and our Facebook page more details about all of the activities that are going on and how you can get involved and help us make this even better event for next year. So I'm going to have Karen share a little bit about, unfortunately, some of the negative information that we have, the future, I guess, of where we're going with Alzheimer's disease and the harsh reality of the impact that it is taking on all of us. So let me go ahead and turn it over to you, Karen.
Yes, really, this is some of what really, really motivates us, and that is some of the latest figures from the Alzheimer's Association and the sources. And right now, there's more than 5.2 million people who have this really devastating condition. And unfortunately, for you and I, Heidi, 2/3 of the people with Alzheimer's are women. As a matter of fact, if you are a woman over 60 years old, your chance is at least 1 in 6. Every single day, 1,300 people die from Alzheimer's, which is 500,000 people a year, and it's the 6th leading cause of death. And then really the thing that blew my mind when I was doing research for this was that these numbers could possibly triple by the year 2050. So Heidi and I are on a mission to help people rewire their brains so that we can bring these numbers down and help people who are dealing with this, both those who are experiencing the illness and those of you who are the wonderful, wonderful caregivers for these people, to better arm yourself with lots and lots of tools, but today especially the tool of humor.
That's right, our favorite. And well, I say that a lot because the other things we're going to be talking about I'm really excited about too, but this is my favorite. This was a tipping point for me personally in working on some of my own brain challenges, or we could call them gifts, depending on your perspective. So, you know, one of the things that I like to remind people about with Alzheimer's, well, not people with Alzheimer's, but, you know, talking about this topic, it can be really depressing thinking about where this is all headed. But the fact that we actually have a lot of control over our lifestyle, and our lifestyle has a lot of impact on, you know, how our brains develop over time, the rate of cognitive decline. And unfortunately, we know that there's nothing we can do at this point to cure Alzheimer's, although a lot of people are busy working on that, which is why it's important to continue to raise money for this cause. But we do know that you can slow down the progression of the disease and that you can potentially keep the symptoms from being as bad. And I heard a researcher once share an amazing statistic that if we were to just slow down the development of Alzheimer's by 5 years, in the year 2050 we would save $500 billion in healthcare costs, which just blew my mind. So not only is this taking an emotional toll on all of us, but the financial toll on us and our community and our society is pretty terrifying. So the good news and what we want to focus on in our short time today is really what we can do to create a brain that's going to be as resilient as possible to the natural aging process, to cognitive decline, and hopefully to this disease. So we're going to talk a little bit right now about humor as one of those elements, and then this afternoon we'll talk about nutrition, and then this evening relaxation, which are also topics that are really important. So, Karen, why don't you share a little bit about your story and specifically how you've used humor to help deal with maybe some of the challenges. You know, you've been a nurse, you've been a caregiver. Technically, you've also had this impact your family personally. So I'd love to hear, you know, some of the ways that you've used humor, which I think are good tips for people.
You know, one of the things that I've learned along this journey is the importance of being proactive. And when you have a loved one with Alzheimer's, there's a time to laugh and a time to cry, and most of the time we forget about the time to laugh. My mother had Alzheimer's, her mother had Alzheimer's, her mother's sister had Alzheimer's, and as I mentioned in our previous cast, my sister and I look at each other and go, "How you feeling?" So in terms of being proactive, especially for those of you who, honest to goodness, you feel so weary and sometimes you can feel so downhearted. And so you really do have to make a conscious effort every single day to weave some of this in. And your days are so packed and your days are so full and you think, oh my gosh, you're asking me to put one more thing on my plate. Yes, yes we are. But this is something fun, and this is why we hope that you will make room on your plate for this. And if you are proactive in terms of manipulating your mindset, asking yourself, where is the humor that I'm missing? Because if you make the assumption there's nothing funny happening in my life, you'll be right. But if you make the assumption that there is something humorous going on around you, you keep your eyes open, you start looking for things. As Heidi and I frequently remind one another, it's not about being funny. It's about seeing funny. And if you keep your eyes open, you're going to see things all of the time. The second is manipulating your environment. What can you do to increase the likelihood of experiencing humor in your environment? Whether it's tuning in every day to a 30-minute sitcom that makes you laugh, whether it's listening to an MP3. I happen to love David Sedaris, so he's on my short list. Whether it's going to a bookmark on your computer, whether it's going to YouTube and typing in laughing babies for a 1-minute, 60-second fix on something that's going to lift you up, keeping something on your phone that's a fun, iFunny, which is an app that you can go to, keeping things around you constantly. One of the things that I want Heidi to show you is one of the things that she's manipulating her environment, my environment, and the people around her with, which is a fun little toy that she keeps. I keep sponge noses in my glove compartment and in my purse. But the point of this is to be proactive. And in doing so, especially with those of you who are caring for someone, this is the most primitive form of communication. So smiling, laughing, making eye contact, and because memories, short-term memories are the first to go. So tap into long-term memories with that loved one. Reminisce about times that were fun, times that were funny, and how can you utilize those? How can you tap into those kinds of things and enjoy those experiences and laugh about them? Because it will boost your mood, it will boost your mindset, it changes your body chemistry, which we'll talk about throughout the day. So many wonderful benefits if you just take that proactive step, and especially when you're not feeling like it, because the more that you're not feeling like you want to play is the more that you do need to play. It's a big signal.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I'm so glad that you mentioned, because I was going to interrupt you. So when you mentioned it, I was like, okay, I don't need to steal the show yet. I have to introduce you to Melvin, those of you who would have not met Melvin. Melvin is our Beyond Funny monkey, and you can
He's
see
our mascot.
Logo as well, our mascot. And a good friend of mine, Andrea, I'll give her a shout out because hopefully she's joining us as well. I was showing her Melvin the other day, and I showed her that if you squeeze him, his heart pops out. So it's just kind of a nice little stress monkey. And she said, oh my gosh, he has a heart on, which I thought was absolutely hysterical. I checked with Karen, and she said it was appropriate for me to share that all with you.
The PG audience here.
Humor guru, to say the least. But I love what she taught me about seeing funny, and that's really what we want to encourage you to do, is not feel like you have to be the comedian or you have to, make jokes out of things. And certainly not that everything should be funny, but that there's things we can build into our environment, as Karen said, to just be more playful, to enjoy life more. And so Melvin, for me, started off as something that personally was a reminder to have more fun and be more playful. And for those of you who have heard me speak before, you know that two of my biggest fears were public speaking and flying, and yet I did this for my profession. So I had to come up with ways to make the anxiety less and the stress less, and I'm going to be talking more about that this evening on our 5 o'clock session. But one of the ways I did that is I had a little monkey at the podium next to my clock that just reminded me, if I have more fun, then everybody's going to enjoy the session more. And that relates to what we're talking about today, because if we're able to enjoy the situation, if we're able to see the lighter side of things, then we can actually manage stress better. We reduce the stress hormones in our brain that are inflammatory and actually speed up the development of cognitive disease and decline. And lots of new studies have now shown that chronic stress is one of the biggest problems, really, with the development of Alzheimer's. So as Karen and I talk a lot about, we know now that genes can load the gun, but it's lifestyle that pulls the trigger. And as kind of gloomy as that kind of sounds, it's also very positive because it means we can control to some extent the future of our health, and certainly when it comes to the brain. So I want to let you know we are doing more of these. I actually ran out and I contacted the company and they have now sold out. So we're going to do a special order of our Melvin monkeys for Beyond Funny, and we're going to be handing those out. So it's been something that not only I do for myself, but something that I can do to engage in conversation with others. As somebody who is outgoing but also very introverted, I have a tendency to not want to engage in a lot of social connections. And Karen, I'm going to actually turn this over to you here in a second to talk a little bit about the benefits of humor in communications, because I think, you know, you mentioned with people with Alzheimer's as an example that smiling and humor is this kind of primitive way of communicating, but I've noticed in social interactions it's also a great way to reduce stress for myself and other people, but to strengthen that relationship. And it's a tool that we're starting to talk more about even in business environments.
And Heidi, I want you to make a note for yourself, and we can talk about this in the section where we're talking about stress, but you've mentioned in your book, Stressaholic, about how harmful isolation can be. And the equivalent, I think you put in your book, was that, you know, being isolated was the equivalent of smoking like 18 cigarettes a day, I think it was.
15, counting, yeah.
And so it's just incredibly isolating to be a caregiver. And so this can help you in terms of building rapport, building relationships, even if they are outside of the home, or, you know, over the phone or via social media, or however it is that you reach out to other people. That's one of the nice things. There's so many different ways that you can access humor and connect with other people. You know, Heidi and I and our humor pals are we tweet, we email, we text, we Skype. We use all different modes of communicating humor. Yeah. And one of the things that I think it's important to remember when you are using humor with an Alzheimer's patient, depending on the level of cognition that they have. Again, if they've got enough cognition that you can do some reminiscence on various kinds of pleasant and fun memories, that's really great. Fun music with fun lyrics is another way that taps deep into memories. But, you know, in terms of the cognitive process and the way people lose their memory, with Alzheimer's, it's the most recent memories to the longest memories. And our very first memories, our very first form of communication is through smiling and laughter. You think about being around babies, and we make absolute idiots out of ourselves by making funny faces and trying to get them to smile, and they learn through positive, you know, behavior and reinforcement that, oh, if I smile, they do something funny again. And so we've got this form of communication going. And so even if this person that you're caring for is unable to speak, I learned with my mother that if I would make eye contact and I would smile and I would laugh, that flat affect would start to loosen up, that you could see in her eyes that there was some kind of a connection, and that there would, you know, a smile would break out on her face, and sometimes she would even laugh. So doing this from a place from your heart of this smiling and laughing with the other person is a wonderful, wonderful, very basic form of communication that allows you to still stay in touch.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you know, it makes me think of another thing, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but, you know, depression, anxiety, all of these conditions. I know, you know, we're really focusing today on Alzheimer's disease, but there's other elements that go along with it, and depression is certainly a big one that I think most of us can relate to. And so for me, this Beyond Funny project really came from that place of being socially isolated, and surprises a lot of people because I'm out there and I'm doing a lot of things with a lot of people for my work, but, you know, we can be around a lot of people and not feel connected. It's really a matter of perspective, perception, and that's one of the things that humor can do for us, is it can help us feel that we perceive the world around us to just be a happier, healthier, more fun place. And one of the quotes I learned through our AATH group, which, by the way, I want to mention, is the Association of Applied and Therapeutic Humor. It's how I met Karen. It's how I met Mary Kay Morrison, Jill Knox, other people who are participating in this both live and virtually. A great organization that we'd love to have you join us. And this project is actually part of my Humor Academy project, a 3-year program that I'm doing with AATH that's just, I mean, it's already exploding. It's amazing what's happened.
Yeah.
But I want to share that because I was in a really difficult place when I found this group and found other people, and I really just knew I needed to laugh. Something in my core said I needed to laugh more. So, you know, building that social support, being around people who could help me see funny again was really life-changing for me. And I want to encourage those of you who are caregivers, or maybe you haven't been impacted by Alzheimer's yet, to incorporate these tools and ideas that we've shared with you today, and more that we're going to be sharing throughout the day, just to help protect your brain so that you can age in a way that's not only going to give you, you know, more years, but more life to the years that you have, which is so important. So I want to be respectful of time, and I know we're running out of time for the 20 minutes. I really wanted to keep this short so that we could present a few ideas, and then also recommend that you join us in our upcoming sessions, which again will be at 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock Pacific time. If you need the links to those, we will post them on our website, Beyond Funny, which you can see here below my name. And throughout the year, we're going to be adding more resources. We are going to be doing another event next year on June 20th. We're going to have an evening event fundraiser with some stand-up comedy and improv. It's going to be a great time. And then Sunday, June 21st, which is actually the summer solstice. I did a better job of that time, aren't you glad? Summer solstice, I have to picture it. We're going to be doing a fun run, which I asked Karen if she'll be presenting it, or be presenting. She might be presenting for the runners. She won't probably be running. But it will be a 5K/10K/ whatever the heck you want it to be, K. So we'll do that here in San Diego, but we're also going to have a virtual run, so you can join us from wherever you are, help us raise money. And again, we'll have more clinics like this online session throughout the day. So we're super excited. We would love for you to join us. You can go to the website Beyond Funny and hit contact us for more information. Also, please like our Facebook page, join us there. You can go to HeidiHanna.com. Karen is at KarenBuxman.com or HumorX.com, and that's it. So Karen, you have anything to leave us with?
One last quote from Lee Burke, who's a friend of ours, psychoneuroimmunologist. He said, if we took what we know today about humor and bottled it, it would require FDA approval. It's so powerful. We really want you to be proactive. Start using it today and let us know how we can be a resource for you.
That is great. Yeah, and fortunately it's not, because we know that that would take forever. So we will end on that note. Thank you again for joining us. We hope to see you later this afternoon, and have a funny day. Go see funny. Go find funny and then share it with us. Thanks.